Kicking off hour number 2 here on Hurrdat Sports Radio. That was Westside head coach Paul Lamangi before the game, giving his pregame speech, captured by the one and only Mike Sautter, who joins us now. I'm Ravi Lula. Andrew Rogers here with me. Mike Sautter.
Mike, flex on us. Flex on us there.
I am.
Feeling good? You a little tired? You all right?
Nah, I'm good. My leg's shaking right now. I'm just I'm ready to roll. I got to hit the road this morning. I dropped my phone. Luckily, I got a phone case on it because it got a big crack in it. So
your phone?
Yeah, I got cover though, so it just
so it's like the screen protector.
Yeah, screen protector. Did that this morning. Trying to get out of here.
Heading down to Kansas City for Creighton.
Yeah. Yep.
JP joining you.
Yep. We're gonna road trip.
There you go.
He's driving. He's never driven in this situation before, so I've always been the one driving. So
a little role reversal there.
A little nervous about this.
Well, you are
We're probably going to be listening to. Yeah, we're probably going to be listening to some podcasts of some sort, or you guys or something.
Wait. Well, so let me ask you this: since you're the passenger, do you get control of the radio?
Well, I'm going to probably be working the whole way down there.
Oh, okay.
So I got some stuff I got to do. So
Mike Sautter never stops.
I had to dress up today, I didn't just throw a hoodie on, right?
Well, I'm sure you were bundled up yesterday.
It was freezing.
Yeah.
I looked like the snow ninja out there at one point. I had the black mask.
People are like, did Mike Sautter put on some weight? Nope, he's just wearing 6 jackets.
Yeah, losing weight. Yeah, it was good though. Yesterday was. Let's face it. The football wasn't good.
Yeah, so let's get into it a little bit.
Both days it was pretty bad. There was one game, and that was it. That was even decently kind of competitive.
Yeah, close.
So we knew. Well, let's start with last night's game. Obviously, we knew the chances for Elkhorn South against Westside were.
Yeah, it was.
They were up against it.
Yeah,
they were up against it. So that was. That was, I think, the consensus going in. Obviously, that's what we saw play out as well. But not just last night. Let's kind of take it from the whole season perspective. You said it before the season even started. This could be one of the best teams we've seen in state history. Obviously, it played out that way. But give us a little bit of context, because I know a lot of people point to that 2019 Bell West. They're like, they only gave up 60-some points all season.
Well, these guys only gave up 46.
40, and one of those was a defensive touchdoon.
Hey, how many
7 of those 46 were defensive.
Yeah,
how many points did Bell West put up in 2019? Do you remember? We were trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I can go back. I haven't done the ultimate research of that yet,
but it was more.
So Westside,
I would imagine,
put up 643 on the season.
It's a lot.
That's a big number.
Their margin of victory was so high. This is why everything relative. So I go to the second practice of the day. If you remember, I was supposed to go to the first one. I overslept on the couch.
And then you did some conditioning.
I overslept on the couch in our office. And so I went to the second day of practice, and I said it immediately after that. I said, this team could go down as one of the best in history. They're that good because they have, when you look at that stuff, it is, their margin of victory is going to be really high. Yes, obviously it is. Division I talent or talent across the board, right? College level talent. Do they have that? Yes, they do.
Which is funny because we talked, and they don't have superstars on that team. They have a good chunk of guys.
A guy going to Notre Dame and a guy going to Nebraska.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
you have 4 or 5 D1 guys.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, I'm not
Nebraska.
saying the top 11 guys are NFL caliber guys.
Notre Dame, Nebraska.
They're built like that as college level players.
Yeah. Notre Dame, Nebraska. Guy was offered to Iowa State. These guys are junior. Iowa State, and then a top 100 linebacker who's a junior too.
Yeah. Which at the high school level is crazy. Yeah. We're not taking that away. But
a bunch of dudes with Division II NAI stuff.
Right. My point earlier was
it's not 85 prep where there was 21 Division I athletes on the team.
And that's what we were
meaning baseball and everything else.
Or even that. There were more D1 guys on 03 Miller North, or there were more, and there were.
Here's one to the culture.
Here's also one knock if you look at this Western one in this conversation is the teams they played, majority of, like, it's so down compared in like
comparatively
where
yeah,
they're at.
to where it's been in the past, right? Or years in the past. So it's that's another kind of, that's one, maybe the one knock, but man, they are so good.
Oh,
like,
they're incredible. For what it's worth, Bellevue West
in 19
scored 662
okay
compared to 643. So we're not talking about
we're
a
not
lot.
that far off.
Yeah, we're talking about literally 50
and better
points
defensively.
Yeah, you're talking about literally 50 points per game versus 49 and a half.
2015 North is the one team that gets brought up because recency bias, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
that's the Calvin Strong team, right?
Yeah, where they running clocked everyone in the playoffs. Well, hey, guess what?
So did Westside.
Right. That's their
argument.
Gave up
6 points in the playoffs.
Yeah, their argument is we running clocked everyone and whatever, but I guess so
the one of the things that I thought was interesting about this Westside team is, so you look at like a Bellevue West, similar level of Division I talent.
Yeah.
You look at, I'm trying to think of some of the other schools. Like Miller North has a couple guys they're going to go.
Yeah, the
D1,
2 juniors. Yeah,
not 4 or 5,
right.
but they've got a couple of D1 guys on that roster. You look at some of the other teams.
Elkhorn South.
Elkhorn South has.
They just played
some Division I guys.
They got their 2 best linemen are Northern Illinois and Nebraska.
Yeah, you've got and that's actually a kind of a quote unquote weaker spot for Westside. They don't have any D1 guys on the line, right? Even I don't know what the Miller South guys are going to end up being. There's a lot of young guys. You've got at least like Marion Jackson, I know already has a bunch of offers or interest. Interest.
But Millard South has like
those guys are all
Laquana,
sophomores. So
Millard South seniors or FCS and Division II guy,
right?
FCS, yeah.
But
FCS
you might get
guy.
some. You might get some guys out of the younger class on that team.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It's hard to tell there.
Too early on that.
Speaking
of Millard South, they're probably going to be the favorite the next.
Yeah, absolutely, because of their their best players are sophomores basically. But
hey, you know what? Can I go ahead?
Well, I was just going to say, so it's not like it. I think the interesting thing about how dominant Westside was is it's not like they are one of those teams that we talked about that had 2 or 3 times as much talent as these other teams they played. That's why it's interesting to me that they were so dominant.
Yeah, there's you go 03 Millard North in this conversation. We talked about it. So 85 Preb, 03 Millard North,
82 Westside, 19 Bell West.
There's like a 92 Norfolk that people or 90s and Norfolk team that was pretty good.
People bring up.
Here's the deal. This is what I do know for a fact. They are, without a doubt, positively in the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's so hard to quantify football from 1992 or 1985 to what it is today.
Even 03.
You can't do.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I said about Zane Flores last year. Like, he's the best pure quarterback that we have seen. When I say that, I mean since like 2000, right? Like 2005 when the game changed.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm not sure people realize, because this started happening when I was in high school.
Right.
The shift away from like a bunch of people running wing T and power I.
It was after Frank around here. It was after Frank Solich got fired.
It was in that.
So
and
it was bringing in Callahan and like spread it out more. And so that's what schools started doing around here. That's just how it always works in every state, really. So
they kind of mimic the major Division I program in that state.
Right.
But so we're talking maybe 20 years since there started to be a dramatic shift in style of play, and really for most teams more realistically about 10 to 15 years. And so trying to compare Zane Flores
to Eric Crouch
or to Todd Doxson or to whoever, right?
It's not the same.
It is a totally different conversation. Anything else on Westside before we move on to some of the other?
Yeah, just real fast. Like the people that I said this, I think last week, right? It's like, give them their flowers.
Absolutely, we're saying this.
We can talk about everybody else and try and hide it. Like, I personally felt like I can't talk about Westside because I will get people saying, "Oh, you didn't talk about Westside." Well, gosh darn it, I was gonna say something else.
Were you?
Yeah.
It's one of the best
I couldn't
teams.
tell because like you had a hard time
Yeah.
getting gosh
The
darn it
pause.
out.
The pause was like, oh,
Like
get the drop button.
they're
ready, Shane.
pretty dang good. And you
just
know
admit
what?
it.
Like,
that's what I told
yeah,
Ravi.
just admit it.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, yes, hey, Dad, your son plays for another school. You know what? Great. Two things can be true at the same time. That team can be good or going to be good, and this team can be one of the best ever. It can happen.
Yeah.
Also, I'm so box Sautter right now. So the people that say, "Oh, recruiting, I wish they would have home team, their own school, whatever." Hey, what about when you got a kid from somewhere else that transferred in? What about then? You didn't care then?
Yeah.
You care now?
Well, also it's
Now you want to go back to, oh, I wish it was just their home districts, man. Oh gosh.
Yeah,
Well,
here's the thing.
it's also I wish
Sautter.
we could go back to 1982.
Yeah, it's not
Like,
against the rules.
they didn't
It's
break
not
any
against
rules.
The rules.
They broke no rules. They
That's-
broke no rules. No one can find anything. I'm sure they have documentation if needed. No one broke a rule. You may not like it, but guess what? The rules allow it. So move on with your life.
or catch up.
Or that.
Or catch up.
Like it is so. And yes, hey, guess what? You may live in a district where they can't do it. It's closed because there's too many kids that go to their schools and whatever. Guess what? I can't help you with that. Like, I got nothing. Like, what do you want? What do you want to say? There's nothing to say. I just so tired. Like, the best thing that Twitter/X has ever done is mute conversation button. I did that 4 times this morning when I woke up.
Just this morning?
Yeah, because I was just like, oh my gosh, you people have no,
It's
like,
insane.
I'm over it.
Yeah.
I'm just over it. They're good. They're really good. Guess what they didn't do? Break any rules. Okay.
And they won a lot.
Yeah.
And they won commanded.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Emphatic.
Everybody else is doing it too, unless you're in a closed district. Those people, sure, you say whatever. Everyone else is doing it. Went to 8th grade city championship basketball game like 6 years ago.
How many high school coaches were there?
Everybody was there. Everybody wearing their school color. It was like a recruiting fair on the basketball court after the
You would have
game.
thought it was college recruitment.
Yeah. I mean, it was like
It
this
looked like an
person's talking, this
AAU
person-
open recruitment period.
It's been happening for years.
Yeah.
Move on with your life.
Yeah.
It's 2023.
This is how
This is what it's going to be.
this is how high school
Happens in
sports-
Lincoln all the time. Happens
Yeah.
in,
It happens
Hey,
everywhere. It happens
guess what?
everywhere.
Carney just got a pretty good basketball player who's going to help them too. It's Carney.
Where's he from?
Arizona.
Yeah. Oh, it's not even in the state.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
So like, I get it if you're like small town, whatever.
Caleb Love.
Like, it's just, there's,
I don't know if he'd start.
the NSA has rules in place to help do, and trust me, they are very much strict on it. Like the Carney situation, for example, the AD at Carney had to put together 61 pages of documents to prove that they're just moving like a job
That
move.
they're
thing.
legitimately just
It's a
moving to
legit
Carney.
move. 61 pages and had to go through a hearing and everything.
And
So,
I
like-
So
struggled
this
to
isn't-
write 500 words in
So
college.
this isn't
Right.
This isn't happening like willy nilly. Is
Ye-
what you're trying to
Yeah,
say.
my gosh. Okay, sorry.
That's okay. No, I think it's
Okay.
important to point out because that is a big conversation. And honestly, it's a thing that has been thrown at Westside a lot. You know, it was thrown it was thrown at Bellevue West in 19. It's,
Right.
It's
They have, but this West Side roster has Christian Jones and Cam Bell that when their head coach that got them to go to Burke left for West Side went with him, right? Yes.
Mhm.
2 transfers in high school, right? The other one, Keenan Cotton, started as a freshman at corner at Papillion La Vista. He transferred for his sophomore year. He's now a junior. That's it.
everybody else
That
started-
transferred in high
Yeah,
school.
everybody else started their career.
Started their
at
career
West
as
Side.
freshmen.
Right.
Now you had people that opted into Westside
Great.
as freshmen, but again,
Happens all the
everybody
time.
can do that.
Everybody does it.
Like that's not
It's
a big deal.
thing that happens.
But
all
you're
the time.
talking about 3 guys after their high school career started that actually moved
correct.
to Westside.
Yeah. So
That's
it's not
not a
a
big
full.
number.
It's not a team full of whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and I get it. People want to say, well, they're home district stuff. That's another thing. When you say, oh, well, only 3 guys started that, you know, whatever. Well, they should live in their home. Then they change the subject. Yeah. Like, come on, man.
Well, they move the goalpost on
people
you.
just don't like to celebrate other people's accomplishments.
Yeah, they're really good, and you don't like it. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's
so
a little ridiculous.
For Bennington,
yeah,
I heard something interesting because I learned so much about high school, like throughout the season and as it goes on.
Speaking of really
Bennington
good.
expanding here soon.
Well,
right?
they're trying to.
And so if they expand, won't that mean
they'll
they
be
have to
in
go
B.
they'd have to go up to A though, right?
No, they both be in B. They might. It's real close on the numbers as far as enrollment numbers are concerned. They are right at it. That's why they're trying to get bond issued, and they've tried 4 more other times, 3, 4, numerous times in the past. I don't know the exact number, but it's more than once.
Interesting.
To get a bond issue to build a second high school because they are bursting at the seams. I don't know, like, are people in Bennington that don't think it's a good idea to build another high school? They're going to be cool with their kid in a portable classroom in the parking lot? Probably not. So, hey, but yeah, they're right on. They have the largest. I mean, they're one of the largest in Class B as far as student population, and their numbers are huge that are going out for football. And why not? But they're one of the teams, like in Class B, you don't see that kids don't play both ways. That's a pretty big advantage.
Oh, it's a huge advantage. Class B,
so
it's an enormous advantage.
Class, like West Side, our kids play both ways.
Right.
So
now some of those kids are like Caleb Benning. And
well, yeah, it's different. But, like their linemen don't play both ways in Class B.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage.
Taking a breast and getting a drink.
Enormous advantage.
Kyler Lordson's probably the best player in Class B. He's amazing.
Yeah, we talked about him yesterday. His ability to go sideline to sideline is insane.
He is a 2-time state champion wrestler and probably going to be a 4-timer. He's like, wrestling is his best sport. I don't know, man. Like, I've said this before. He's a really good wrestler, but he's probably a better football player. His ability to run, chase down, just his instinct, knack for the ball, all that stuff.
That's the key word,
and
the I word, instinct.
So because he's a wrestler, you can't get by him. Mm-hmm. Like, he tackles everything.
Yeah,
he doesn't miss a tackle.
If he touches you,
right?
Yeah, if he touches
he's
you,
also like, I mean, he also goes low, and because he's not the biggest guy, but he's
wrapping those legs.
Yeah, and you ain't getting by him. Like, he is grabbing your ankle, and you are not kicking. That ain't happening. You're
done. Let's stick with Bennington here for a second. Class B, obviously the rematch from earlier in the season. Do you feel
did not go as anticipated? I mean, the way it happened.
Yes. Do you feel like Bennington? Do you feel like the best team won Class B?
Yeah. I mean,
probably.
Yeah. Everyone's talking about Scott and whatever. Waverly was actually pretty good.
Well, right. There was a few really good teams in Class B that
I just think that. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they were the best team. Jack Jansen up front was the way they moved him around. He played end the whole year, and they rarely went to a 3-man front, but they would switch from 3-man to 4-man front, like in games and stuff. And they did it a lot more, I think, on Monday. And they liked the matchup with him at nose guard, so they kept putting him at nose guard in a 3-man, and it really worked. He was a killer. Like, he was awesome.
That final score, real quick, made me laugh because Sautter all over the past 2 weeks have been saying you have to score 21 points by Bennington. And sure enough, that final score was 21-0.
No one scored 21 on
So the gap though between Bennington and like Scott and Waverly was dramatically closer this year.
Closer
than it was in years past, right?
Oh, it was a little closer. Yeah, for sure. I believe that. I agree with that. It was closer. They also didn't have Trey Bird.
Sure, yeah. I mean, there was turnover
Dylan
there
Moss
for sure.
Wasn't playing
in the other classes, C and D, 8-man, all that, everything else that you saw this year.
Yeah.
Anything else that really sticks out that you want to make sure you talk about?
Yeah, I don't. Like just Jeff Bellard.
I mean, Norfolk Catholic.
Winning his 11th is amazing. That's amazing.
Bonkers.
That team. I saw them first in. Against Battle Creek, and that game was awesome. I'll never forget that night. It was a great game after that 2.5-hour rain.
I would say that was your rain delay game, right?
Yeah, and they just kept fighting. That team is really good. They're really talented too, and he clearly has that thing humming. Obviously, 12 titles in the school's history, and 11 for one guy is something. He's also been coaching almost as long as I've been alive. So
he doesn't have enough
or longer.
Rings. He's got to move his next state ring.
And he is a great guy. Like, he's a great man.
He is fantastic.
He's awesome. He's an AD there too. So yeah, C1 was Wahoo and Boone. Boone built for this a couple years ago. They took some lumps with this senior class that when they were sophomores, and now look, it paid off. And Wilbur was there, and that was awesome. So Wilbur, the semi truck. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Mm-hmm. I sure did.
Yeah. So you had an interview in front of it.
Yeah. I'm gonna honk the horn again. Go Cards, baby. So it was
honk the horn. Sauter's
no,
like
it was
7.
loud. You should have seen the parking the people that were like the yellow coat guys or whatever outside on. We're talking West Stadium, that one little strip, and he just pulled that thing right up there, and we just pulled next to the curb, and they were like, "Hey, you can't park here." And I was like, 1 second, this will take 2 minutes. We got to do something real quick. I was like begging them. And then I laid on that horn, like, and there was an audience, obviously. And people, the guy,
leave it to you to gather the people so you can honk a horn.
The guy just shook his head like the one guy. So the one guy was cool with it. And the other guy came over. He was not having it. And then I just laid on the horn and when we got done. And then the guy looked at me and just like shook his head. I'm like, hey, man, sorry it happened.
Okay, before we let you go, Class D2, big performance there.
Yeah. Oh,
with the 65
never
carries.
Gonna see that again.
What was only 486 yards? Was that it?
Yeah, only 480. Yeah, I can't.
Only,
but like, he touched it every single time except for 2.
I know.
You know what?
People had a problem with him scoring at the end too, but I guess there was a little talk going on back and forth,
chirping.
And they were like, "Screw it, we're
sending it."
And I guess Dad's a coach and stuff, and kid was great after the game.
Yeah.
He was super humble about it, and just a junior. So,
real quick before we let you go and you get on the road. That weird kick by Westside, that was intentional, not intentional?
Oh no,
okay,
they wouldn't have done that.
I didn't think so. It looked so weird.
No way. Yeah,
it was bizarre. If you could do that on purpose, though, I think we found a new onside kick strategy.
Thanks, so.
Yeah.
We will be back